Good evening. I'd like to call the joint school board city council meeting to order on Wednesday, November 12th, 2025 at 6 p.m. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. For those able, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was a good look. Matches your
Good luck, yeah, it
matches your shoes.
All right, before we move on to the reading of the records, I just want to welcome the city deputy finance director, Mark Sullivan, to our meeting. Deputy finance director.
The finance director.
The finance
3 years since that's fine.
Finance director,
Deputy.
Mark Sullivan. And next item is the reading of the records from our October 8th, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion to accept. Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Bollier, second by Mr. Downs. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is our owner's representative report, where I'll turn it over to Mr. Bristol.
Thank you and good evening. I think I'll be dominating the meeting for the next few minutes because I'm going to give you a financial true up, but good evening, everybody. And this may be our last or next to the last meeting. We're getting close, so I just did want to say before I gave the report that the construction group wants to thank all of you for participating in this for the last 2.5 years, and many of you were participating for 2.5 years before that to get it to this point. And just 3 particular kudos is that David walked into the middle of a project that was crazy, and it's been great to have him here for guidance, and the group thanks him. And I want to note that you're very fortunate to have both Erin as your principal and her assistant. They really serve you well. And then one of the lone heroes that you often don't know about is Scott Rindelflesh over there, who is your facilities director for that particular building. And believe me, you wouldn't be where you are today so far along with the school running smoothly if it wasn't for him stepping up to the plate. So thank you. And now we'll get on to this document in front of you, which is we started every meeting by saying we're on time and on budget, and we remain with that same statement, which is good. You started this, the summation page, you started this project with $34 million. If you look at the first 2 sheets, there are 2 sheets that add up with all the vendors that we have either paid or we are going to pay. And those vendors come to an amount of $32,536,000. And you'll see that total over on what would be, it's called page 2, but it's the top of the 3rd page of yours. So basically $32,536 is what you have spent. You 2 months ago approved some purchases, but we have not bought them yet. So we are reminding you that there's $41,000 worth of things that have not been put in the system. And those are over on your 4th page, and they add up to $41,000. So you basically said, go buy them. We haven't bought them yet. We can of course rethink that if you want, but these were approved in October, but they are not in the system yet. So we should take that $41,000 off our total. So again, if you're following from page 1, there's $41,000 that comes off. And then there is on your very last page a thing called additional purchases, see listing, which comes to $23,000. There are 2 items there. We hadn't put in the purchasing system a mat for the lobby for $6,100, and you have a settlement for $17,000 that wasn't put into the system. It's in the system and it's gone, but you haven't yet given it a blessing. So when you look at my math here on page 1, I'm suggesting that we have 41,000 that you've approved and 23 that you kind of have to approve because one's a settlement and the other is something that was bought. It's already been arrived, but it didn't have a purchase order in advance, which gives you, yes,
You said 23, do you mean 29?
No, 23.
23,153, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I'm on the wrong page, got it.
Okay. Which, by the way, now that Mr. Mayor has spoken up, under my thank yous, I forgot two on the right-hand side, which was some of you, and you know who you are, helped us get the permits on this project early on. And I know Mr. Mayor had a little bit of quiet influence and then a few of you members on this JBC, so thank you for getting us out of the ground back when we were having trouble getting out of the ground. We'd still be waiting to get our first bit of dirt dug if it wasn't for you all, so thank you. So that gets you to the 1.399 million. And we welcome Director Sullivan here, but he had called us after last month's meeting and said, I think the figure's 1.4 million. And so we have trued up to be approximately what he was thinking. The administration tonight is going to give you a presentation of 324,000 more worth of things that you can consider if you want to. And you'll see that on the last 2 pages. And that is where you will see the first mistake I've made of the day, which is there's a $17,000 line item carried twice there. So we're gonna take that $17,000 off there, and your 324 will lower by 17,000, meaning that you need 316, is that 306? So
That's where my 29 came from, 1 and 2.
we did that. So now you've got questions before we turn it over to administrative. What are you all seeing? Any that you'd like? Yeah. No comments? We'll let you have a chance to digest it because it's a lot. Yes, sir.
Well, I have a question on the 17,000 that is a proposed settlement with the butter. Was the conversation that was coming from a different fund?
Not that I was involved in. The conversation I had, it was a settlement as part of this project. It was going to be
So we
charged
will
to this.
take the 17. That's fine, I just wanted to clarify.
Is it proposed or is it done?
It's done. Just an update, it's done,
Okay.
so it was approved last month and done.
So one of the questions that came up last month was to talk about a vehicle. And there was some other device that was discussed,
Vision, I think.
Vision, whatever. Can we use these funds for a vehicle? I mean, I always am on the side of, is that really gonna be sitting there the entire time only for that property?
Yeah, I was gonna hold off for all those comments on how to decision the surplus, until you guys got through on what you wanted to do with the surplus, and then I'll explain some mechanics,
Yeah.
of how it should work, and how we'd prefer to see it work, but I'll just wait till next.
Fair enough, thank you.
Happy to sit down and answer questions as you go. I think we're into open, Madam Chair, we might be into open forum. Does anybody have any, other than the counting the 17 twice, which works to our benefit?
But we do keep the 17 in this, since if it is coming from our
Coming from
funds,
us,
from our
from
funds,
construction.
then we'll keep it.
Gordon, just a question, the nursery effort,
Yes.
I might have missed that, I wasn't here
As
last month.
Nope.
Yeah, what is that?
Okay, these are under things that you haven't approved yet. The administration's come forward, when I say administration, it doesn't mean David here, it's the collective group, Aaron, everybody that's at the school has come forward with some things that they'd like to have since the school opened. So we had come up with an idea that would propose a nursery effort, which is a 3-year plan to put about 25,000 or 30,000 a year worth of shrubbery in. That's way out there that you guys have to think about. So we went out and got a price, it came to 96,000 for a 3-year effort. It's purely judgmental on your part, but we have an actual physical quote for that. I have no, I can just go down through the other ones while you're on that one, just so you know, the decisions that you're gonna have to I suggest you make tonight is we have the other neighbor that has a modest fence that they'd like for 12,000. You have the nursery effort for 96. There was talk of a projector for the stage. We don't know if that's still a priority, but if it is, we don't have a quote on that, but I know that 25,000 gets you a projector for the stage. There has been talk since we opened that they need a fence by the gym area, so that if the kids go outside and play there, they can be corralled to some extent. So we feel 35,000 is a good figure to carry there for the corral. The administration has gone out and got a price for a vehicle of 129,000. And then last month, there was a presentation by our special needs person, and she presented about 10,000 worth of special needs things that that she would suggest for us to have. And if you were to buy all those, they come to $306,000. But you can, that's your call. And then, of course, Director Sullivan telling us whether it's applicable or not.
Can we start back on the top of page 1, which is the things that I thought we had approved that for purchase already, but like some of them are, this will be researched after
Okay.
November, like the public address system for the stage, public address for the cafeteria. So
You have approved these 41,000, Madam Chairman. We just haven't bought them yet because we were trying to true this up and we had too many moving parts. So we sort of put a hold on buying anything, because
Okay.
things were going from one column to the other. So we said we'll buy these after the JBC meeting. You have already approved these. You can, of course, rescind that approval tonight, but these are things that you've already said you wanted. And that's why I counted them on page 1 as 41,000 worth of purchases that you've said, go buy, but they show up on their own sheet of paper because we don't
yeah,
wanna mess up the bookkeeping.
okay,
So question for the chair, so
Yeah.
these 41,000 was voted on last month?
before
October.
last month.
September,
Some-
excuse
some-
me.
Yeah, September, when I wasn't there, and then.
I don't remember, I just remember the September when I was there, I remember the road work,
This was,
the sidewalk.
you approved about $340,000 worth of stuff at that meeting, and we went out and have purchased 300 of it, and it's in the page of things that says either paid or accrued.
Yeah,
There's just 40 that we don't have a package.
yeah, I don't remember public address system, I don't remember any of those from September.
If I get, so I do remember the public address system, and then there was the talk about that, basically like a repeater system or something inside for the fire department.
I can speak to that. The repeater system for the fire department, we have a purchase order on and have accrued it. And that shows up on your big sheet, which was part of the 32 million worth of spending. If you come up 4 items from the bottom, there's $180,000 there. And that's the two-way repeater that has been committed to be bought.
So in that 300,000, that you wrote, according to 180 of it was just that one purchase alone, right? That was the majority, and the other stuff was smaller. I'm just, for Mr. Mayor in the last meeting, I think the only big one was that one, and the other ones were small ones that added up.
Just for another clarification, the 41,000 of items that are approved but not yet purchased, that's not part of the 324.
No.
That's separate as well.
That's why on my math on the front, I mean, I wanted to sort of illustrate that you've got 1.463 million, but you've said okay to 41 that we're gonna go buy. We're hoping you say okay to 23,000 more, leaving you with the 1.4, and then look at that list of what you might wanna do.
Alright, so the items on page 1 that add up to the 41,000 should be purchased at any time. That's already, JBC has already granted approval of those items, so we just need to close the loop, get the quotes, the invoice, and pay those items since they were already approved. So then the so I guess the neighbor won the $12,000 for the black chain link fence for the perimeter.
That's the golden retriever person house that they would like on, of course, our property, but a fence to just so that our kids don't go wandering over there and stumble into their
So we need to have a formal motion tonight to approve neighbor one, the chain link fence on our property. Is there a motion to approve neighbor one $12,000?
Second.
So motion by Mr. Pappas, second by Mr. Boyer. Now, Mr. Downs will open for discussion. Would you like
Not for this side.
Nope,
Okay.
for the next one.
any other discussion on the neighbor
No.
one? Yes,
I do have discussion. Why are we giving neighbor two 17? Why do we
That-
agree on 17 for neighbor two, but we're only gonna give neighbor one 12?
there, because of the other items that had been requested by neighbor two, they had requested more than a fence.
Couple
Maybe
loads of
neighbor
loom.
one should have requested. Okay,
Well, that's what we, Mr. Gordon has, or Mr. Bristol has been in conversation, and that's all that they had requested.
alright, I'm good.
Okay, any other? Yeah, Mr.
I just
Fano.
wanted clarification again on exactly what the fence does. Is it an open-ended thing on two ends? Is it?
Yes, sir, it's not meant to be all encompassing, it's just to keep us from sort of wandering over when a ball goes that way or the kids run that way. To kind of corral you to not go running through that yard, you'd go around it, but it wasn't meant to be more elaborate than that. There also is some trees there that act as a natural barrier.
I was thinking, I could be wrong, but I was thinking that that's a property that's out on Salmon Falls Road. And I guess I'm not sure what, is there's not like an open playground where they'd be playing ball out there in that area, is there, or?
Well, I'll give, my answer is that it's very close to us. When you take that loop road that inside our campus and you're going around our current playground, there's probably only about 50 feet there, even though that's a long span that's there. The first 50 feet is us and then it's the neighboring property. So it would be very easy for our kids to get there, to be frank with you, yes.
Okay.
In that particular
I'm not
case.
opposed to that.
Any other discussion on the $12,000? Okay, so would that be purchased and installed through us and a vendor?
When you give me the okay, I'm gonna tomorrow talk to David how to do that. Part of me wants to say we just give a agreement to the person that says it'll be done, but let them go buy it. How much we'll figure that out, or we may wanna buy it, cause we'll worry about that, but no, we would be buying it it would go, it's already been out to bid.
Okay,
I guess I'm not giving a clear answer to
Not
that.
to exceed 12. I think the concern is not to
Yeah.
exceed 12.
Oh, no, it won't exceed, right,
and that it's to code, that it meets the
Yes.
code?
it'll look like all the other 4-foot fences we have in the neighborhood, they're the black with the black
Yeah.
coloring.
Okay. All right, so all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. The next item is the nursery effort of $96,000 to cover a 3-year plan for shrubbery. Mr. Downs.
So just my concern here is last night, well, the other night, we approved 98,000 for nursery throughout the whole district.
I don't
Why are we
know.
why are we giving Salmon Falls 96,000 for the nursery, just one school? I just have some concern that for the whole district, we approved the other night, not part of JVC, 98 grand to do and that was just Salmon Falls. It's
So,
for equality there, that's just,
yeah, my question is, cause I was wondering the other night, Monday night, did that quote include Salmon Falls School or no, since they already have had like some plants?
Both great questions. It did not include Seven Falls, obviously. And to answer your question, Mr. Downs, it's, here we are sitting with $1.4 million, where district-wide beautification effort, as I said yesterday, it's peanuts, but it's step one towards right direction. So that is something that we're gonna continue to do year after year. And that is money that we very diligent, meticulous budget review where we moved some money around to find the money to fund that project. In other words, it's coming out of operating budget. I wasn't asking for any additional funds. Where here we have a bit more money to invest in that building. And I think the initial comments from many folks were that the building's gorgeous, right? But the land like doesn't match the building, so I think we tried to do something that would make sense. And we could scale that down or we could erase it altogether, but that's what we came up with.
Alright, so to paraphrase, so it sounds that the quote that we approved on Monday was for just 1 year and it didn't include Salmon Falls. This is including Salmon Falls over 3 years, so that stretches out over the course of 3 years. Larger property, a lot more area to cover as well. I'll start with Alex and then I'll go to Kevin.
Thank you. I'm not crazy about the idea of this spanning 3 years for a project that is ending now. I would be more in favor of a smaller effort now as part of this project that is a one and done, and then future beautification as part of the overall operating budget for the district.
Alright, well, ditto, that's two part, that's what I was gonna say first is, I can understand the need for it, but it does seem like it would be appropriate. It's the one-time thing, and then it'll be normal operating budget for the next 2 years. My other question was, I guess I need more understanding of, so we're looking at the 1 million or whatever that's left, like, I guess I'm a little unclear on, is this $1 million that's sitting on the table that we have to spend? Or is it $1 million that we're, like, is it $1 million less that we're gonna borrow if we don't spend it? Or is it $1 million coming out of the unassigned fund balance? Like, I guess I'm trying to figure out what is the, I understand it's nice to buy these things. I guess I'm trying to figure out what is the urgency to spend this money? So is it money that goes up in flames if we don't spend it? I guess that's what I need to understand.
Okay.
I can explain all that once you get done through deciding then I'm gonna explain some mechanics. Some of you might not like what I'm gonna say, but there's some mechanics here that are gonna have to come into play.
Okay.
Point of order,
Yeah.
I would suggest that we hear that first,
Yeah, I
because I
think
think
that
that
helps the decision.
influences our decisions on individual.
I didn't wanna influence the decisions, but I thought we'd do it
But-
then, but I can do it now, so. Essentially, there was a $34 million appropriation to build the new school. And that assumes you're gonna build the new school and put all the fit ups in the school and everything necessary that is required to build the new school and get it operational to open the school. Then you get to the point where you have some ancillary items that aren't necessarily, directly related to building the new school, but it does help into getting, the school operational. Like the public address system, that totally made sense, the two-way communication, some of those other things that you've already approved. And the JBC has the full authority to negotiate and agree to those. Where it kind of gets gray is now your school is essentially done and you're looking at the surplus and now comes in these other asks to use those funds. That's where the JBC really doesn't have the authority, because what we're looking at in terms of this surplus, and it's I have 1.44, but so we'll call it 1.4. We would attribute that to the unassigned fund balance contribution that the city made. We committed to funding 7.5 million, but if the project doesn't need the full appropriation of 34 million, the city would look to recover that unassigned fund balance. And what would happen is you would deauthorize that 1.4 million, that would go back to the unassigned fund balance, and then the revenues would equal the final project expenses. But you can consider and you can make a recommendation for these things, the other fence, the nursery 96, all those other things, the trucks, to say to council, look, we do have a surplus of 1.4 million. We wanna make a recommendation that we take 400,000 of that 1.4, don't return all of it to unassigned fund balance back. Let us buy these other things, here's the rationale, here's the reasons why we need them. Then you can put that money in a multi-year fund account which it already is in, but it's designated for the new school, we move the surplus maybe by each project, then if you did wanna fund nursery effort for 3 years, you could. Because you would have taken it and moved it over. And then it all lines up, then you don't have any problems. Mr. Reichek can get his vehicles. The catch to that is, and I was talking to the city manager today about it, that would have to go back to full council for final review. And we're not sure if it would require another public hearing because it is repurpose of use of the unassigned fund balance piece. So we need to confirm that with the city attorney. But I will give you this example, when they did when the CTE was done a few years ago, it came that we got more grant revenues than needed for expenses in the school district at the time, and I don't remember if it was Mr. Rapucci or Mr. Hopkins and the BA at that time came back and said, hey, we wanna use this money for these other ancillary things, and the council didn't understand that we already received the revenue.
Yeah.
They said no.
It was
And
really-
what's now on the books, there's still technically $160,000 that hasn't been decisioned from that particular project. So you wanna avoid that issue by making sure council fully understands what it is you're trying to achieve and why it is it makes sense to use some of this surplus. Just don't go in and say, hey, we have surplus, we wanna, there's logic to all these things, but that's really the mechanics and the way it should work. And then that way, when we say, okay, this 1.4 isn't gonna be spent, Mr. Bristol doesn't have to worry about decisioning those for his final true up for the report that has to go to the state, because I'd really like to see the closeout of the project happen, so we get that other $3 million. And if it takes a couple of months, that's fine, but we're expecting that $3 million to come in. And if you have it expand into these other things and have long discussions and wait for the quotes and wait for things to get done, and he includes it in that final report I mean, we could be looking at 6 months before and that wouldn't make any sense. We wanna make sure we get that $3 million as soon as possible, while still giving you the opportunity to use some of the surplus, so.
Thank you for that, I appreciate the clarification. Yep, go ahead.
Question, and I don't know the answer to this, so I'm yielding to you. Of the 1.4 that we've got now, before they make any decisions, is 60% of that, the state will give us X amount of dollars based on what the total project was. In other words, they'll pay 60% of whatever the project was. So let's say in theory, $1 million doesn't get spent, it's really 600,000 their money, 400,000 our money. Is that the way I'm?
That's, you know, I looked at that today again to make sure that that wasn't the case, and I'm not I don't think it's the case, because when you look at the state of New Hampshire DOE approval, the total approved project cost was 26 million. We've exceeded that by
Okay.
going to the 32 million, and they're saying 60% of that 26
Okay,
is the
very-
15 million, of which they hold that final 20% until you do your final.
Good information for us all to know, cause
Yeah.
I was nervous about that.
I'm 99% sure that's how
Right,
it should
I'm
work, but
99%, yeah.
we should have a cross-reference with them to make sure, because in their award letter, they're saying, we're basing everything off that $26 million number. That's why we had to come up with those other funding sources, unassigned fund balance, capital reserve fund, and we use another 1.4 from excess adequacy grant monies back in 2024 to put together the whole, and then have a little contingency too. You couldn't, didn't make sense to budget it to the bone, because you always need contingencies.
Thank you.
Kevin?
Thank you. So, I mean, that last scenario, if it is true, I am in full support of getting things 40 cents on the dollar. That makes sense. But if that's not the case, then I don't see that. So is the recommendation from what you said, Director Sullivan, is it that we should create another account and move the monies into that?
Yeah,
What's remaining?
what the recommendation would be to of the surplus, approach council with a deauthorization of the final balance and a reauthorization of whatever you wanna use, whatever you wanna recommend for these ancillary things, the trucks, everything else you wanna do. And then put it to the council vote, and the difference being, say there's 1.4, you wanna use the 400,000, that $1 million goes back to the general fund. You send it back to the general fund. And then you can ask for it again next year if you want.
So we would have to go back every year to
No,
get
I'm just
to.
kidding, no, you
okay,
just
okay.
one time, once
Okay.
you get those projects approved,
Alright.
they go in, the 1.4, we say, okay, this is not for the school anymore.
Yep.
We're gonna take this 1.4, 400,000 is gonna go through projects 1 through K, whatever you have here. They're good to go, they're multi-year, you can take your 3 years to do the nursery effort if you want, and the other million of that goes back to the
Yeah.
general fund, yeah.
Alex and then Tim, or Tim
I'd like
first?
Tim to go first because he's
It's okay, I just, based on some of the things that Director Sullivan said, I'm kinda looking at this, so we really had, this was really a $26 million approval by the state, and they paid 60% of that 26 million. So everything over that, we had to come up with either from bonding or the unassigned fund balance. And we did, and worked it up to an estimate of 34 and went from there. So in my eyes, this 1.4 million isn't really surplus. It's because everything over the 26 was overage. And so if you back up from that, the 1.4, we came in 1.4 under the projection, but that's still $7,500 over the initial $26 million authorization. So I am more comfortable with, and that's why I wanted to hear your report first before we keep voting on things saying, we approve this, because as is said, there was 41,000 there that we approved a couple of months ago that, had we been having this discussion tonight, may not have, all of those items may not have been hit the approval list either. So I just think we need to look at it in that direction. I think that the majority of this money should be going back first and then be allocated if it's to items for this school or other schools or what have you, that's fine. I just think that it's we've spent, without that, $32.5 million at this property so far between the building and the extras that we've thrown in. So I think we need to be cautious as to what other things we're trying to throw in there.
Okay, Alex, do you wanna go before I go?
Sure, I agree in to a large extent. I would suggest though that maybe it matters what we're talking about. I mean, there are things that I think are clearly part of the building, it's a fixture for a building, a fence is, I think you can easily argue that that's part of the construction of the building, right? Truck, I don't think you can make that argument. Nursery effort for 3 years, I don't think you can make that argument. Maybe a
I think it's
one-time
part of the
thing,
building.
right? You could make that case as being part of the project. But also I would say that we've had other prior authorizations of funding, like this 41,000 here, that did not require a deauthorization or reauthorization, so why would those be different? So I would suggest, and maybe this is a question for Mr. Sullivan, but I would think that if there's a case to be made that this is a part of the building and it's, stuff that we're adding on because there are things that just incidentals, things that came up, things that got missed, right? We've got contingency, that's what it's there for. If we can make a clear case that it is a fixture for the building, I don't see why that's a problem. And we separate that from the things that you can't make that case for. Is that a valid way of thinking of this or not?
Yes, and I didn't wanna unravel what you've already approved, I just looked at some of those things, I said, yeah, you can make the argument for the public address, the 41,000. The 23, yeah, the reason why that 17,000 ends up over here is because my understanding is we were in agreement at one point to put the fence up and then it just became, the person became didn't like whatever happened with the legal negotiation, it would end up being a settlement, so we gave them the 17,000. But these other things, if you wanna quantify those and move what this board feels is more appropriate to say, yes, that is part of the fit up that we need to get the building fully operational. And then keep those things that are clearly outside of that. That's fine, like the
So-
tractor and the other projector for this thing, I don't know, you decision those, but what's clearly outside, like the nursery effort for the 3 years, you'd wanna have that outside because it's a multi-year thing. And then maybe change this a little bit, move some of those up, get purchase orders for them, get them going. Cause the longer you wait before we, pay for things, I think that complicates the closeout.
For the
Um,
final report.
And there's a lot on that closeout list, I'm sure Mr. Bristol's aware when you look at, there's a lot of other things you have to supply to the DOE before you can close the project out.
So,
You just don't want to drag that
Yeah.
piece on too long because we want that $3 million.
but I do wanna back up a bit though, and also remember where we started at. So it's not a $26 million building. That building was estimated to be $33.8 million. And with any project, you start big, and at the beginning of a project, you scale it down. So some of these things are things that were cut out from the original plan, right? You always start large, this is what we want, this is everything, all the bells and whistles that we could possibly have. And then you start making all of those cuts at the beginning of the project. So it's, this is also an opportunity where you go back and you say, well, what did we cut that we really would like? We have that money to do that. And then also, once we're in the school, day to day, what things have been left out that we need moving forward for safety, for all of that. So we are at that point too, and I just want to remind ourselves that the building didn't cost 26 million. It was more than that, and
No, and
things were cut in the very beginning.
Can I just comment on
Yeah.
that? So you're absolutely right, so when you look at the original application, it was put in at the 33,618. And then the state had some type of formula and a reduction that they put in that said your max eligible cost that they're saying to build the building, I don't know how they came up with this, but it is on page 5 of that school building aid notice of intent to fund. They're saying was 26,282,000, and the maximum they would grant against that is the 60%, which is the 15.7 million. But the school was always projected, even when I worked with Mr. Rapucci a couple of years ago, to put it was the 34 million.
Yeah,
That's just the state
right.
allocation number,
Yeah.
Councilor Fontenot.
So I do agree with Mark that we need to tonight figure out what list will go to the deauthorization and approval of city council for what will be expended beyond tonight. And then what will remain on the 41,000 that was already approved, and how that money, like those, if we already approved it, that needs to get done in order, because it can't continue on past 2 weeks, within the next 2 weeks, so that you can submit the final report to the state.
And one other thing, Madam Chairman, just to clarify the nursery, and again, I have no opinion whether you should do it or not. What happened there was the administration went out and got a price for a nursery, and that would be to put it in all at once. You could spread it out over 3 years, but it was like, here's the quote. Instead of it being so much a year for 3 years, let's just put it all in at once. So you can choose to do it all next spring, and we can commit to it if that's what you choose. Again, I have no opinion.
Kevin, then we'll get back to the list.
Alright, thank you. So yeah, it's just trying to clarify this, what?
So you're very patient, very good of you.
Do you know this guy?
I guess.
I've known him for a while.
Just one question.
So anyway, Trying to understand this thing, so I fully agree with what Councilor Deschaffois said about building items should basically be no-brainers, things that are, even those things we approved last month or the month before, like that would be used in all the schools, that to me is debatable. Things that are moving from building to building. The truck, if it's moving from building to building, that's debatable, that should be in the regular budget. But things that are for the public address system, the repeater, that stuff, anything that's for the actual building, I think should get approved. My question though was on this, so let's say we make this account, cause I think what the Madam Chair said, it made it sound like we had to decide now, if we make this account, let's say $1 million goes into it, millions in that account. Do they have to come back with only one request, or could it be a request over 4 months? Like, could they come back 5 times?
Not understanding the question,
Okay,
sorry.
so if we put it in this, cause I understand the urgency, the wanting to close the project out.
Yeah.
Then to get the other 3 million, right? We need that to do the sign off sheet,
Yeah,
check off
yeah,
the list,
yeah.
punch list. Get 3 million, we want that to happen, so I understand the urgency for that.
Yeah.
But let's say, so in order to do that, you're saying we should take this residual money of $1 million, I'm just saying $1 million, and putting it into this account, which will be the like unforeseen cost count or whatever you wanna call it. Account. That they'd be coming back for these other items. Is it only a one-time come back and ask, or is it sitting in that account for whatever period of time? And they could come back, you know, over a course of 4 months and ask for money?
Yeah, so what would happen is whatever you decide that is left out, because it sounds like some of the projects that are not yet approved, if they make sense and the argument is they're part of the build of the building and what's necessary for the fit ups, you just move those up automatically. JBC has the authority to approve those. It's those outside debatable items. You make the recommendation to city council, I wanna deauthorize X, but of that balance, I want 400,000 to stay liquid, let's use that word. So we can buy these other things, but you would have to identify and council would have to vote on, yeah, that's fine. You can get your trucks, you can get your nursery effort, and then that would go into a non-lapsing capital improvement account that will stay for as long as they need it.
Okay, that's what I was asking, it's not like a one
Yeah.
bite at the apple thing.
No,
You could keep coming back over the course of months as things are discovered, but at that point, like the council, I'm sure would be considering, you know, are these just trying to keep things out of next year's school budget? Or are these things that we're paying for this building?
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't wanna design it so it's just a generic bucket of funds that is free issue for anything that comes up. You have to specifically
Earmarked for
state what you
specific
want them for,
items
and then you're
with
fine.
rationale,
Yeah.
One and
with rationale for everything. Alright, so let's get back to.
already done the 41,000.
So my question on the 41,000, none of these items have been purchased, so is, at this point, we're in November. So I'm leaning toward, they haven't been purchased, so then that should move over to the deauthorized monies, right?
They've been approved already.
They've been approved, but they haven't been purchased or ordered. And so that means some of the prices may change, right? Some of them could be subject to
Yeah.
the dollar amounts change. That's the only thing I'm concerned about, because we want Gordon to get the report done for the state prior to December.
And I'm gonna think while you guys are talking, but part of me says when I take the report to the state, we could put a period on it. If we put a period on it tonight, for example, we're gonna do a draft to the state, and then we can go back and say, you know, over the last couple of weeks, we've got a couple other things. I don't think it's gonna change, all the state cares is that they're only gonna pay 60% of what they approved. We can spend whatever we want on top of that,
Okay.
alright, so it's the lesser, that's my thinking, and I think that's an accurate thinking on that.
Okay. Matt.
Which one?
We don't need those lists.
Travis.
I disagree. I think that these items are very specific to the school operation of the school. And they've been approved, and therefore they need to stay. We need to get them in as quickly as possible. I assume that that can happen. But I think it's important that these things stay there and are purchased and installed as quickly as possible.
Okay, Matt?
Alright, so we could talk about this all night, but it's time to wrap this bad boy up. So I need someone who's got, how much is surplus right now? Does somebody have that number? I'm looking at Mr. Sullivan because.
Yeah, it was on the final report that
Alright,
Mr. Bridge,
so
it's
we're
1
gonna
million,
do-
we
I'm
call it
gonna do some
1.4
motions.
million.
We're gonna do some motions, let's wrap this up. We already got $41,000 out there. Done.
Well, I was going line, can we continue with our itemized list, please?
That's where I'm going.
Well, I was leading the
He's just
itemized
trying to help
list,
you out.
but
I was just trying to help you out because
answering
we've been
questions.
circling the fund and I think it's time to wrap this bad boy up. I was gonna make a motion, but if you'd like to move forward, please do.
Let's go back to the nursery effort. Should we cut it to $32,000 for 1 year only?
I'd make that motion, yeah.
Okay,
Second.
motion by Mr. Sullivan, is there a second? Mr. Fontenot, so we're gonna cut the nursery effort to $32,000 for 1 year. All those in favor?
Can I ask a question?
Yep, discussion.
What does that include? I mean, is it, are we planting trees at the entrance or is it around the entrance of the building? I mean, what would,
So I think at this point in the game, unless you want us to bring the drawings back to the committee, that would take another month. Otherwise, you would just have to, we can informally inform the board of what that's gonna look like, but some of that trust will have to be put on the district at this point. I don't have that plan yet to answer your question.
you'll work with the
Contract.
vendor to put them, okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, show of hands for
We just do roll call on each school. I'd recommend we do roll call.
Can I ask you a question,
Yep.
Madam Chair, before they do it? Are you saying that 32,000 is now part of what you wanna consider part of agreeing to, that's part of what was required to get the building
Yes,
operation? So we
as part of the
exclude
building.
that from bringing it back to council for decision?
Correct, it would be added to the 41,000
Okay.
that's above. It's part of the building project. Finalizing, finishing the grounds. Okay, can I have a show of hands who approved? 1, 2, 3. Alright, majority, motion passes. Okay, on the next page, we have a projector for the stage of $25,000. Does the committee feel that that belongs as part of the building project? Mr. Boyer,
I make the motion that we move $25,000 as part of the building project.
okay,
However you wanna say it.
okay, Mr. Boyer makes a motion, Mr. Pappas seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor of the,
I guess, you know, if someone can explain what that is and why it's a part of the building now and wasn't a part of the proposal.
The reason it was not done prior to opening was we were having difficulty trying to get a vendor to give us a decent price on that. These prices were crazy. They were $50,000, they were $60,000. So I put the brakes on it and said, let's get the school opened and revalue engineer this. So we then came back and said, we can go out there and find what we need for 25,000. What this will look like is, right now, if you're in the cafeteria and you went up on stage, the old days is you put the screen up. Well, this is gonna be a less, it's probably not gonna be motorized. It may be something that you come out, you roll up. It'll be a large screen, but what it is, we don't exactly know, but we're sort of saying, keep it to 25,000 and it's for that stage. There always was one in mind to be on that stage. It's just, we couldn't get any decent prices when it was time to get down the home stretch. So we put the brakes on it and said, we'll carry it over to this.
okay, any other questions? Mr. Pappas?
More of a comment, I think if we look at another school that has something similar, that would be the high school. And when you have a large number of teachers, I mean, there, if you include all the teachers, I don't think they could probably all fit in one classroom, so you, if you had it in the cafeteria, or if maybe you're projecting something for students to see, if there's an assembly where you need to project something, that's where it would come in handy.
where you would need something big enough and strong enough to project that distance and for that brightness.
Yeah, and they're also gonna have plays, elementary school plays on that stage, and the projector would provide a backdrop for plays as well.
Gordon, if you couldn't get one for 50,000, how are you gonna get one for 25?
The problem we had is we were down to we were gonna have to go out to bid and put an RFP out, and it was gonna take forever, and the prices we had at our hand at that time were 50, which we felt were too elaborate of systems. So we needed to go back, and instead of it being a motorized system that comes down and it's the whole back of the wall, instead now we're looking at something that's maybe gonna be 15 feet by 8 feet high and not be the whole back wall that comes down motorized. So it will be a different animal,
Okay.
to be
And you're
honest.
confident 25,000 is enough?
We have talked to vendors and said, if all we have is 25, you can give us something good, and the answer is yes. But again, we haven't pursued it because we wanted to,
Okay.
yes.
I
Yes
see it
is
as a
the
teaching
answer.
tool.
But that's a good question, how do you go from 50 to, we felt 50 wasn't right, it's just, do you need one that elaborate for an elementary school?
Thanks.
Okay. All right, any other discussion on the projector for the stage? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the fence for the gym area. This is the grass area right outside the gymnasium doors. It's for safety of the students if they're taking PE class outside and want an area to contain them for safety.
To include it. I'll
Okay.
second.
All right, motion by Alex, second by Matt Pappas. Discussion?
Just
Matt?
a question, I'm just trying to remember, between that field and the road that goes behind the school, is there a drop off there to some degree? Is that where we're trying to keep kids out of that road? Maybe trucks or cars are going by, the school buses. That's where we're talking, right?
It's the grass area to the left of the gymnasium door. It's the driveway circles around the grass area.
Alright.
So it's between the building and the driveway.
So this being a student safety issue, I think that it's very important that it's
Yeah. All right, any further discussion, Mr. Fontenot?
Just quickly, that $35,000, is that a hard estimate at this point, or?
How we derived that figures, we had just done the playground. So we're gonna buy $35,000 worth, and we don't know exactly what it'll be, but it'll fill up the area nicely similarly to the playground. So we did not go get a quote on it again to save time, but
Footage.
we're only gonna have 35,000 to spend, and you're gonna get a big, huge fenced area for that.
It's the same type of fencing that,
It'll be the same company putting it in.
Final.
Yep.
And that included the extra 200 feet of the playground, cause we added the 200 feet around the playground.
Correct.
So that's including that
It
amount.
it includes the entire flat area out by, now, we can fast forward and say, what if something happens and prices go up over the winter and we don't lock it in? Well, that's when we would come back, this doesn't have to all come out, I'm not trying to speak for you, but
Yeah.
you can also say this doesn't, if we come up 10,000 short, I'll put on my manager's hat, there's a certain operating budget that, there's other places you can find it, but your question is this an intelligent figure? The answer is yes. But are we gonna hit something one of these times and it doesn't make it? Maybe, but that's a good figure.
Alright, any further discussion on the fence? Alright, those who approve the fence for the gym area signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is the truck. And since Mr. Sullivan is here and wasn't here last month, Mr. Reichlich, do you mind explaining the rationale as to why we would need that truck for snow removal?
Yes, Madam Chair. So really, Mr. Sullivan is that although we closed 2 schools, the reality is that we doubled, if not tripled, our real estate square footage. So currently I have 2 snow blowers, and I have to piecemeal operations in order to plow the entire district. It would be way more efficient, and it would just make sense to have an additional plow vehicle to allow the job to be done at Salmon Falls. Salmon Falls is large enough where in a similar way as RMS or high school, where we have all hands on deck in order to get that job done, we will have to do the same type of operation at Seven Falls. So that was the justification behind the request. I would also add that based on last month's JBC, I've had follow-up conversations with the team, and we decided to remove the tractor out of the wish list, if you will. So we, at this point, really just asking for the truck with the plow wing.
What about the area by the loading dock? Wasn't there a reason why you wanted the tractor for the area at the loading dock that has the safety? How do you plan to remove the snow?
Yeah, so
That,
really there's not a lot of room there in front of the building, right? So you're gonna have to get in, remove the snow, place it in a designated location, and then plow that away. So the plowing at Seven Falls is gonna be done in a reverse order. We're gonna go along the fence that is adjacent to the neighbors, and then end up by the loading dock, which at that point, it's another barrier for us where we're gonna have to stop, remove the snow, and then plow it away. So yeah, it really just comes down to, having a handful of maintenance guys that are responsible for 9 buildings and just a couple of trucks that I have to get the job done. If we've got excess of 3 inches of snow, then we may rely on some help from the city, but otherwise we are on our own. So if we don't get this approved this way, I will, seek other means to purchase that truck in some way, shape or form.
right, Alex?
Well, I very much appreciate the need, and I would like to be able to do it, but I don't think we can justify calling it part of the building project. And it seems like a district resource to me rather than specific to the school. And so even if we did want to move this forward, I think sounds like something that we would have to send for reauthorization, which is essentially just asking the city council to do a supplemental appropriation for the school department budget.
Well, it wouldn't be a supplemental, it would just be a reallocation of the surplus from the unassigned fund balance to buy the tractor, to buy the.
But effectively, it is going to the city and saying we would like to use money that will ultimately come from the unassigned fund balance and go for this purpose.
Yeah.
And seeing as I don't think we can make the case that this is for a building, I would move that we exclude this. And I'm open to a discussion on whether or not we should do reauthorization or send it to the council for reauthorization, but I think at the very least we should exclude it from this
I have
authorization.
a comment.
Okay, yep.
This,
If I was a second, but also it's like, I feel the same, it's just like, this is not the original intent, so it should be just, this is now how we're gonna use the remaining funds, and I think it's appropriate, so I'd second what Alex said.
Okay, I just don't think we would need to make a motion, it would just die, right? We wouldn't motion to not include, right?
But at the end, if you're gonna make a motion to move some of these things to the surplus side, then you probably wanna make that motion
Deauthorization.
tonight too. Of whatever else. And just so you know, I went through this same exact thing when we built the new DPW facility. They wanted to stop buying equipment
Right,
out of, and I was like, no, you can't do that against, it wasn't what the appropriation was, like apparatus type equipment.
yeah,
It just doesn't work.
okay.
I could just clarification, is the intent, JBC is to put this in the package that will go to the council? Or no?
No, what we just approved, the projector, the fence for the gym, that's gonna
Okay.
be that's gonna, I think,
This would be one that would have to come back.
yeah,
If, let's say there's $1 million left over at the end and we put 500,000 in this safety fund, this would have to come back and ask to be spent out of that fund, correct?
No, I think we're voting that it doesn't go there to the
No, it
fund.
would, there's two separate things.
I wanna
This-
clarify,
that's
why,
and
yes.
and
You
to
don't know
the-
what you
to the-
seconded.
To the chair's point,
Yeah,
to
well,
the chair's
we
point,
just approved should be ordered.
yeah, to the chair's point, maybe it doesn't actually require a motion because we're not actually adding anything
Correct.
to the budget. However, I was explicitly not saying that we should send this to the city council. If someone else wants to make that motion and put it as surplus and have it be reauthorized by the city council, that's fine. I'm not making
For
that
clarity,
motion.
do we have to, I don't understand, we don't have to say what we're gonna bring forward to
Yes.
this
Yeah,
safety
Yeah,
fund?
we
Yes,
do.
you do.
You
Yeah.
have
Well,
to
We do?
with
well-
What if it comes up in a month
Can I-
from now?
So rationale, if we're deauthorizing 7.5 million and we're saying of that, we wanna hold 400,000 in the unassigned fund balance earmarked for X, Y, and Z with justification, we have to provide rationale for every single item that we're expecting to be held aside for us. And then it's up to the city council to approve or deny, or cut, or say, okay, yes to this, no to that.
So the motion is not to put it forward.
Yeah,
leave it
he
alone.
was
Well,
saying.
really, there's no motion.
There's no motion, we don't
It's-
need a motion to not do something, we just won't motion to do it.
So unless anybody wants to make a motion that we should include it as part of a facility cost or a different motion to recommend it for,
I recommend
surplus then.
we finish the last item on the list as to what we're saying we wanna order now with our current building fund, with our current money that we have. That's what we're going through right now. What are we approving to purchase now and include and submit in the final report? Then we can go back, whatever hasn't been approved, we'll go back and say, do we justify it? To then go to the deauthorization and ask for that, some of that to not be returned or to be earmarked for these other items. So the last item, if we can continue, the last item is the special education. Last month, we did approve the hearing fluid machine, 2 machines for $6,873. I don't know if that was on the list of the 41,000.
Madam Chair, I didn't know that exact figure, so this is that amount. So even though you approved it last month, I didn't, that 10,000 means 6,873.
Okay,
This is the one you talked about last month.
oh, that 10,000 is the
Yes.
6,873. So
So that,
but now with new information, okay, so I kinda wanna reopen
Right.
that. We approved only that last month. We did not approve the vision screening machine or the Logan Pro Talker. We said we would come back in November now to rediscuss the vision screening machine and the Logan Pro Talker nonverbal machine. Those were not approved last month, but we did approve the hearing fluid machine, 2 machines last month. But given the new information about what is really part of a building and the opening of a building versus what is this extra stuff that's a gray area, I think we should discuss the item that was approved last month that hasn't been purchased.
and right now, Madam Chair, that number's not carried anywhere. I just,
Yes,
We
so
let it-
even though we approved those 2 machines, that's not part of the $41,000. So I think we need to have a conversation of any special education equipment being tied into the building of Salmon Falls Elementary versus something that should be budgeted for in the operating budget. Mr. Boyer.
I would appreciate number one, if we're ever gonna do this again, let's have the numbers correct. This estimation and guesstimates and we did, but no, it's not on there, but this is on, but we did approve it, like, come on. This is getting a little ridiculous. We think we might have it there, so I'm gonna make the motion to go back to that vote and say it's now denied, we're not paying for whatever that equipment was, because I have never seen so much maybe on there, maybe not on there in my life on any project in this city. This has turned into an embarrassment on financial, trying to figure this out. It's time to close these books and not think we have an approval. So whatever that dollar amount is, I'm denied. That's my motion.
So the motion is
Second.
to deny the hearing fluid machines for $6,873.10 from October's meeting. Motion by Mr. Boyer, second by Mr. Callahan. Any further discussion?
I just have a question, is this equipment above and beyond what other schools have?
So,
Or is this just to get the school to parity with other schools?
if I remember correctly from last month, I don't believe any of the other elementary schools have the hearing fluid machine, I don't think. Some do have the vision screening machine. And nobody has the Logan Pro Talker, they use iPads for the nonverbal students.
Can you clarify again, why why this is coming back up? Because it says in the minutes that it was approved.
Yeah, right, he just made a motion to
Reconsider.
reconsider to remove it.
Just for Robert's rules, whoever voted for that project and wants to say now I'm against it, you're gonna have to do that motion.
Who made the motion
So I made
last
the
month?
motion,
Shane Downs, seconded by Kusimani.
Okay, Mr. Downs?
Well, just my concern, my question is like, we approve all this stuff, but then we don't order anything. It's the committee approved it, why was it not ordered? Cause now it looks like it's gonna be taken away. It's frustrating that that's not the only thing that wasn't ordered, there's something else that we approved, but we're just doing more research. If we approved, I'm kind of in the same boat as Matt, if we approved it, what's the research for? Why are we still researching if they already came to us with the money? So it's very frustrating that this is what we're, but there's still research. It's very frustrating being in our seat right now.
so then technically my motion would have to be
So,
rescinded because
it
I'm
would
not the
have
one
to
who made the
be
original motion.
Mr. Downs, but Mr. Kusimano's
Isn't
not
there
here this evening.
anybody on the prevailing side of a motion that passes can ask to reconsider?
So technically I'm asking to reconsider.
As long as you voted yes last time,
Yeah,
you
he
can.
was
Yes.
a yes.
Yes, and you did it, you're fine.
Yeah.
It was
That's
unanimous.
Okay, I'll make sure we're good by rules, thank you. So this would be a motion to reconsider, not to fully deny it.
Okay, so,
I have one more
Clarity.
question.
Yeah.
So I think this is in that gray area of, apparatuses rather than facility hardware. So maybe that on its face just makes it not a good idea, but this is equipment that only Salmon Falls School would have and none of the other ones would have. Would the other schools be able to benefit from this in any way?
And I remember I asked that.
yeah, you did.
And I'm not 100% sure what Sarah said.
Pretty sure she said they'd be trying it out at Salmon Falls School
correct.
only and not be
Yes.
moving equipment or students. Ideally, they would want all elementary schools to have these machines. Yes,
So this is staying at Salmon Falls, is what I
the
just heard?
hearing fluid machine,
Which you did, I do recall her saying that. So I'm gonna rescind my motion for reconsideration, I just making the point, let's close this and get this done tonight.
so it was already approved last month, but it's not in the 41,000 that was like, this is where the bookkeeping. It's not part of
But
the
unbalanced
41,000.
So if
Yeah.
you rescind your motion to
The
reconsider.
person that seconded has to then,
Then I'm gonna make the motion to reconsider and I'll speak to why. Because I think that we should reconsider this, take it out of this approved section and move it into the part where we would then ask the council to reauthorize the money for that. I think that's how this should be handled because it's in that gray area. So,
I'll second that.
Okay, so,
so the first motion here is to
Motion.
reconsider last month's motion, which is to
Alright.
remove it.
and that was second by Alex, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now is there a new motion?
Well, we can, if you want me to make a motion that we put this into the bundle of money that we ask the council to reauthorize, we can do that if you wanna wait and do that.
But if, that, I'm fine doing it now, but if we're gonna bundle, like if we're gonna put the hearing fluid machine for 2 machines, do we also include the vision screening machine and the Logan Pro Talker that we said last month we would bring back up in November for discussion?
I would propose that we just do it all as one package.
With all those machines,
Yes.
vision, hearing, and Logan Pro Talker.
Yes.
And what was the total of
The
that?
total was, we were given like a $8,000 to $10,000 range for one vision screening machine, and then $3,149 per device, and they were asking for 4 devices for the Logan Pro Talker.
Just for clarity, like, we just made the motion to reconsider for the $10,000.
Right.
But before we add everything, I think we still need to vote that for clarity, before we talk about all the other items.
I agree.
Yeah, I was
So-
asking if we wanted to
Okay.
include all of them into that motion.
No,
Or
the-
is it separate,
I
just
think
the
we need to
hearing
separate just to
through the
make it more
machine?
clean.
Yeah, so we voted on the motion to reconsider. And then the motion is to remove that
Okay, The 10,000.
6,000
yeah,
and whatever
alright,
out of this portion of the. So,
alright, so any further discussion on removing the $10,000 or the $6,873.10 from
From the approved.
approved.
So point of, I think technically what you're doing is you're reconsidering the motion that you passed, so now you're gonna vote on that same motion again, and the answer this time, if you wanna remove it, is no, when last time it was yes.
Correct.
I think we're just re-asking the motion from last month.
So the motion from last
Oh,
month
so
is
then
to
we
approve the
voted down.
purchase.
So we voted down and then it would come out.
Okay, alright,
Do you get it? Like that, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what the motion.
So an I vote means we keep it in there, a no vote
No
means we
means take it
remove
out, yeah.
okay. Alright, so all those in favor of approving $6,873.10 out of our building aid would be an aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
So motion fails.
So that's out.
So do
Now
we,
we can.
do
Now
we
you
have
can
a
do the other
number, do we
stuff.
have a total number of all of this equipment?
I
That we're
can,
talking about?
I can
But
add
but that's
that.
in a different section still, we haven't gotten to that yet. The other thing that we haven't done yet is voted to authorize that.
Well, sorry, it's not in a different section. We were on the special needs line item for the 10,000, which is what prompted all this.
But that
Right.
10,000 doesn't include all of those things presented last month.
Well, that's what I'm asking, is what is
right.
the total of, from last month that was approved, which you just rescinded,
Which
plus
we-
anything else that we're
plus
talking about, can we just get one number for that, and then we can make a motion to put that in what we sent to.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Give me 1 second, please.
24,2 plus 6,800, which was 30,000, and then you do that, so it's 30,000 to.
So it should be $29,469.10.
I got 20,022.
There were 4
the
devices.
four devices.
I'm just gonna do it again real quick to make sure. It's 10,000.
It's 24.
$29,469.10 for all of the special ed equipment that was requested in October.
So are we ready to talk about the things that we wanna consider whether or not we send to the council?
Well,
Yeah.
Or do we need to talk
We
about this
haven't done that
23,000
bottom one
first?
yet.
The mat,
Yeah, the
right,
mat
that
and the-
should be with the building, so that's for the lobby,
Yeah, the mat for the lobby, it's already been ordered or it's already here,
Right.
right?
but we just needed a
That
approval.
was one in which your bookkeeping folks found that it had somehow been bought, so we're just backfitting now that we'd like you to approve it.
Make a motion
We'll
to
have to pay
approve
for
the
it another
$6,153 for the mat for the lobby.
Okay, motion by Alex, is there a second for the mat for the lobby, second by Mr. Pappas? So all those in favor for the,
Discussion.
discussion?
How do we, if we've had a screwdriver, could be told when it was purchased, but we didn't know we had mats purchased?
It was an oversight of an invoice.
Just adding to my comment from earlier.
It was an invoice oversight, so it was ordered and purchased.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion?
Not by me, by the way, I'm just a little, it might.
Doesn't matter.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So now back to the list for the deauthorization of what money we want to request to city council that's set aside for specific items with justification. So we have, yeah,
Did you include the neighbor one 12,000 fence as part of consideration to be part of the building and the ground?
Yes.
I think we did. That was the initial.
yeah,
I missed that one, sorry.
to be part of the money that we already have
You're gonna-
as
you're
part of
gonna
the
expend.
building project.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
question, Mr. Sullivan. Do you have the new surplus number now?
Excuse me?
Do you have the new surplus number?
What I was just gonna do is take the, on this page one, the subtotal that shows 1.4 million. Add to it the pieces that you just included.
Yeah.
Which is, I have 104,000.
Ballpark is like
So-
1296.
Yeah, something like that.
Add or
1 point-
subtract?
Add it, cause that or
Subtract
subtract it from the,
You're gonna subtract it, so the subtotal of the surplus is gonna increase because you had 324,000 of ancillary items. And you approved $104,000 of those ancillary items, so it's gonna increase the surplus number.
Okay, but it should be increasing 1,075,000, not 1.4.
Yeah, I was just starting from the beginning
Okay,
in my
alright.
head.
Oh, okay, I was understanding, so 1.4, you're gonna
Yeah.
less.
Do it the
whatever
other
we
way,
approve now.
just increase the 1.75
Sure, we're
by
on the same
that, that's
page.
probably easier. Sometimes I take the long route. I know you're tired, and you don't wanna listen to my long route, but. So I have the surplus approximately 1,180,000. I rounded up.
alright,
That surplus,
That's what we're down
so
to.
you're gonna recommend to bring the council to buy vehicles, tractors.
I have another question. A question maybe for Gordon and Mark here, given what Gordon was saying earlier about the report, and since we are well beyond the $26 million mark here, anything that we ask for of the city here for reauthorization should not delay issuance of the report and getting that final $3 million, is that correct?
I can give a 2-second talk on how I see the state going forward. So everything that you've approved up to 10 seconds ago, to do the state report, even if we haven't purchased it, we're going to be purchasing it, but even, we can put that figure in that's carried here. So we can keep that process going. It's my intention to, within a week and a half, to have a draft of that, to go over with our finance person and Mark. And then I would drive it over to Concord and they will look at it. That's when they do some random selecting of bills and say, give us a, you know, do their due diligence, they'll pull out a few. So this process can take a month and a half or maybe 2 months maximum to go back and forth. But we can take what you've done so far tonight and call that a period and put it on it and go forward with our funding for the state. Whatever you're now gonna do, and this is where Mark can correct me, sir, is that I think that we don't need to mention that at this moment with the state. Maybe in 3 weeks when we know where we are. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's the surplus that you're gonna use for the ancillary items that wouldn't
Right.
be considered as part of the
It's gonna
direct
get,
building. So yeah, in terms of the state,
it's gonna get refunded,
Yeah.
but then
Reallocated.
possibly reallocated by the city council,
or not,
or not.
Yeah.
Exactly.
but I think you're clean in terms of what you're saying, the final number is going to be on what it took to build the building.
Exactly.
So bottom line, what I'm asking is if we choose to send anything to the council to be reauthorized as surplus.
Yeah.
We don't see that delaying the report or
I don't,
our.
I
I
don't
think we're
from the state.
collectively saying no, it's
Yeah, I
not
think we're
going to.
collectively, yeah.
Thank you.
yeah, now that he has the final figures of what's been approved, he can't spend more than what we just approved tonight. That'll be added to that $41,000 of things that had been approved that can be ordered and dealt with without the committee. And that's that dollar amount is included in the report as a total. So I guess there's just these two items that we need to consider to be put in for the deauthorization of the surplus to be set aside and approved by city council. So the special ed equipment of $29,469.10 and the truck for $129,000. Those are the two decisions left. Matt?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we send the $1,180,000 or defund the $1,180,000, which goes back to council with the request, and I would ask that the district puts together a formal reasoning, itemized and rationale for the special ed equipment and the truck totaling $158,469,000, which would result in a final surplus to the non-assigned fund balance, if I had the right statement, of $1,021,530,000.90.
I think you may need to repeat that.
Hang on a
I'll
second,
go
so
short reference.
$158,469.
Yes, that's the
Would be set
29,469
Should you have 10 cents on it?
and 10 cents, I'm sorry, I did not round with.
I lost the 10 cents. Oh, I didn't put in the one, I only put in the 0.
Get
10
to know people.
cents. I know I got it, I
Okay.
have it, I just forgot the one. Set aside. And with rationale.
Yep, with rationale. So that means the city will be putting back the unassigned fund balance of $1,021,530.90.
Now remember, I rounded my original estimate up, but
So the numbers have to be,
yeah.
Well, yeah,
Firmed
so
up.
then we
Yeah.
would need the actual dollars and cents for the minutes.
Second that.
Alright, so a motion by Mr. Bollier to send $1,180,000 to be deauthorized to city council. And with the request to set aside $158,469.10 for the special ed equipment and the truck for facilities, which the district will include rationale for each of the special ed equipment items and for the truck.
and Madam Chair for me, maybe it's easier to say approximately, but will be finalized by
Yeah,
Director Sullivan, cause he has the exact math. I don't wanna lock in the 1.118.
So
And all of a sudden
to be
it's 1179 change, you know.
so to be finalized, and that was seconded by Mr. Pappas. And then discussion,
So,
Mr. Fun.
I'm not sure that we have all these numbers correct. My quick math says that we're off on a couple of things, so I think that the motion shouldn't be stating specific that we're returning $1,180,000, cause if it comes in at $1,194,000, I don't want someone saying, well, that 14,000 is ours. You know, it's whatever the balance
Unapproved
Yep.
is.
expenditures.
Exactly, once the final figures are done, is fine. And the other number I think is correct, the $158,000 number that's 129 for a truck plus
Yep.
29 for special ed stuff, that's fine.
Yep.
But I'm not sure that the other one is exactly
I'll
correct.
amend my motion to
Alright.
Counselor Fontenot's suggestion.
So motion's been
Those
amended,
be the remaining balance.
Whatever the remaining balance is.
remaining surplus to be deauthorized
Yes.
with
You
the
said-
158 set aside. Yep, Mr. Solomon?
So I'm just still trying to wrap my head around this, the authorization and requesting stuff, so we put these items in there earmarked in this fund. Do you have to take them all together, or you can take them separately?
Together.
So if you wanna approve, when the city, so what I'm saying is, when it goes to the city council,
Yep.
is it gonna be, you have to approve every single one of them? Meaning you could approve the truck and not everything else, or vice versa, or you have to approve it all?
So correct me if I'm wrong, like the operating budget, the city council can't itemize and say we approve this but not that, but they can cut a dollar amount, which makes it obvious, but.
That's what I mean, so like, let's say the city council didn't wanna approve the truck, I'm just saying, So they would only approve the amount requested minus $129,000?
That's,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
that's what
question
they would
one.
do.
Question two is, let's say they approve it all on the first time. That's the last bite at the apple, and now the rest of that money goes back to the unassigned fund balance for good?
And it's
Okay.
earmarked
Yep.
for those items only.
Yeah, well, I mean, the rest of
If
it,
they're
so that
approved.
minus whatever the amount totals that.
Oh,
The
yeah.
rest of it,
Is in the
800 something
unassigned
thousand just
fund.
goes back to the unassigned fund balance.
So if there's
it's-
other items that you wanna consider,
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, there's nothing else I wanna consider, I'm just trying to figure out.
Yeah. But to Mr. Sullivan's point at the beginning, that's really not taking the 7.5 million from the unassigned fund balance that was originally committed to the school department by the city. It's reimbursing that some of that 7.5.
Well, I was just trying to clarify that it's not like after that vote had passed, then it's come back, oh, wait, actually, now we need this truck.
Nope, we're done.
So it's over, okay.
Alright, did we vote that out?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay,
Discussion, right?
any more discussion?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm not in favor of the 129 going to the city. A couple of big picture thoughts here is that we closed 3 elementary schools in the past years, couple of years. Where's the savings from the closing of those schools? I mean, you think of energy costs, you think utility costs, you think of maintenance costs. There should have been some savings from closing 3 schools, so I think the council's gonna be, I think some members of the council, obviously I feel that way, I think there's others gonna feel that way too, is why are we paying for a truck that the school's gonna use it for other purposes besides just not just gonna be tied to that school, which makes sense. So I'm against it, I don't think it's gonna pass, and I don't see it as a connection to building a school.
I agree with your rationale, but I don't see the harm in us asking the council to weigh in and see if they'll do it. Frankly, I support sending this to them and we can have this debate there.
I'll say, I I don't know if we're gonna enter this back and forth thing about a truck, but if there's 6 inches of snow on the ground, we don't have a truck, let's just not have school. I mean, we gotta have a truck that's capable of plowing such a large piece of property, as Mr. Reichlich said. So if we don't have this included with the city council's vote, or if it doesn't get approved, what do? Do we have to hire out a plow company to come in and do that one particular school while we do the others? Because clearly we won't have the machinery to do that project.
I gotta respond back to that, it's gonna be a back and forth here. You have a budget, you have a planning, okay, you should have planned for it, I don't wanna go down that road, but it should have been planned for in your budget, you need more equipment to plow this thing.
We did, can I make a comment? We had it in the CIP budget, it was cut by city council. So
I don't know
we
if it
had-
was explained that it was used for a school.
It was explained, so we had a vehicle, a truck put in to the CIP bonded, and it was cut for this current fiscal year budget.
It said it was gonna go to the new school.
And we've also tried to do an apparatus reserve fund for this very purpose. And that's also been denied by city council. So the district has tried to be creative fiscally to go for reserve accounts for apparatus funds, special ed funds. Capital reserve funds are the way to go, so that you can plan for the future. So we've done our part, and this is where we are.
And
Mr.
I
Downs.
just wanna add to that the city council did cut 450,000 from our budget this year as well.
So we're partners, but we're here. We all got ourselves here.
Just wanna make a
Right.
comment, if we are not gonna get this truck, we're gonna come in at 3 AM, Mayor, and we're gonna plow, we're gonna make this, we're gonna open up, we're gonna open the buildings, so we will do our due diligence.
Again, yeah, I just make a comment, is I think, I agree with this concept. I somewhat agree with the mayor on that too. Appreciate Mr. Reichlick's, that we're not gonna shut down the schools because of this. But at the same end, we don't want, people having to come in at odd hours if they don't have to. I think, I think that the council will pass it, but I think it's the appropriate thing to do is to send it to the council. Because it's not it doesn't seem to fit in, it seems like you're trying to, what is the expression, like a square peg in a round, it just doesn't seem to fit the concept. So for that, the best way to do it is just bring it back to the council. If I had to put money on it, I bet it's gonna pass. It probably won't be unanimous, but that'd be my guess, and I think it's the right thing to do.
Alright, any other discussion on that? Alright, so the motion is to deauthorize whatever the total amount comes to for surplus, but set aside $158,469.10 with rationale for special ed equipment and a truck. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nope.
One opposed, motion carries. Alright, so any other financial pieces? Yep,
Just wanted to let, within 2 days, I will get a copy to Director Sullivan of where we are tonight and our progress, cause I too wanna get this stuff bought and behind us, so now I've been turned loose, we will be turned loose.
and
So I do have a question, when do you
Yes.
want we have to bring the resolution to
Yes.
city council, but it's probably gonna cross over into the next council
could we get it in
unless we
December?
fast track it for
Could
for-
we do December?
well, I'll have to talk to I think we can probably do it if we get, I just don't wanna fast track something and end up having to come back to a new council,
Right,
you know what I mean, saying
My,
we would have to get the resolution prepared and give them what the ask is. Whether we need a public hearing or not, I'm not convinced we do, but we might. And then answer all those other questions that go along with it in terms of the maintenance and what it all means, but
I wouldn't think we would need a public hearing, cause that money was assigned to the school department, so it's not leaving the school department. It would still be going toward the school department,
Yeah.
and that's what it was originally approved for.
inclined to lean to that, but I can't make the final
Yeah.
decision. The city attorney has to weigh in on that, whether
Ideally, we'd be able to get it in December
Okay.
before the new council.
that's what you'd
and
like
the
to
new
do.
board. Yeah, that would, I was gonna ask you if that would be a possibility for the December.
as a council member, I'll wanna make sure I'm seeing the real final figures before we're asked to decide on anything further, make sure that we know exactly what is being returned. As opposed to, this might be what we've got left over, before I decide on spending any additional funds.
Okay.
I think Gordon's committed to turning that around in the next 2 days to Mr. Sullivan.
What you could do, instead of, we know there's surplus, you could just, I know, I'm not trying to make it difficult. You could go in now and just say, we know there's going to be an excess surplus. We'd like to get authorization to take 154,000 or whatever the number is now. Remove it, deauthorize it, and get these things purchased now and not wait for that final number. It's just saying, and the way it could be positioned is the JBC, this is really outside of the JBC's authority to vote, cause it's outside of the bounds of the school. Some disagree with that, some agree, then you present it to council, you just wanna make sure that you're okay with this, we're gonna buy these $150,000, and then at the end, we'll do the deauthorization in in 2 months, and all of that money will get returned back to the unassigned fund balance. You could take that approach too. That would make it easier to get through December without having that final number, Tim, because there's still some work to be done for that final number, and some of his quotes may be better than anticipated too.
Right, we might get more money back.
But I agree with Mr. Bristol that, we do quotes all the time and they'll change week to week, day to day.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to take the quote that you have on that particular day. Happens with vehicles, it happens with a lot of different things.
And like, Mr. Bristol, is the Eversource rebate in here or that's not in here?
There, you have a $77,000 check that's come to the district from Eversource, and that is not counted anywhere in here.
So that's coming to the school district, or that's not part of this money?
I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
for Mr. Sullivan, Director Sullivan,
Bill
we have
knows.
never counted. The $77,000 check went, I don't know,
Oh, I don't know anything about
but
it.
it is
Typically,
not part of this 34 million.
okay. Typically, when you get something like that, was it specific to the school or was it for the district? It just,
School. It was a rebate for things that were bought during the time that were energy efficiencies.
Yeah.
So Eversource gives a rebate.
Yeah.
And that check has come.
I don't know if that got posted. We'd have to research with the finance director of the school to figure out where that got posted.
That's half of the.
Probably just flows through general school operating revenue as an unanticipated revenue.
Well, I'm not sure if it does, if it's a rebate on equipment that was purchased for the.
Goes to the city,
For
I'm
the
pretty
school.
sure, I don't wanna speak for the DA.
But for buying the equipment, we wouldn't get the rebate.
What
I
did
think
you
you can make an
think it
argument
goes to, David? Hang on a second.
Yeah,
David, alright.
I'm just curious as to when we anticipated that would have come, because that isn't information I have. So when do we anticipate that $77,000 check would have come to the district?
I thought it already came within the last month. The paperwork was finalized about 2 months ago, month and a half ago. I'm presuming the check has come. I don't see that part of it.
So can we check
The
with
administration's
Adriana?
aware that it's coming. It's whether the check has come or not. I don't know.
Yes, I certainly will look
Check
into
with
that.
Adriana.
That's half of
Yeah.
your $50,000 ask right there.
Well, yeah, it's important to know so we can figure out how to decision that, or I wouldn't say it's half of the 154, I'd say it's the 154 plus the 77, but that's me.
I know, you would count that toward the surplus. Alright, so financially, you know what we have approved tonight, you know what numbers to add back into that 41,000. And then what to be moving to the other side, where we're asking city council.
And I will, on the items we're gonna be buying, I will send that, when I send it to Director Sullivan, I'll send it to you and you can share with your JPC if.
Okay, and then, alright, anything under finances, or do we feel good about where we're at with the finances in the plan?
Not now, when there's 77,000 now out there.
So we'll find out, Jared will find out from Adriana if we've received the check and where that money went to, if it was put into the revenue source or,
Said finance Monday night.
yeah, I
And
didn't
it
see
wasn't,
it.
this part wasn't any part of that report, so. So
And then under other, so I'll move to other. Just so that we're on the same page, the two outstanding items that are still being worked on with our attorneys and engineering is the two tax maps of the lots that were purchased have to be merged into one tax map. That's being handled by one attorney.
Yep.
And then we also have to finalize our New Hampshire Fish and Game alteration of terrain permit. Part of that had a contingency that a percentage of the 40 acres would be put into conservation. That is currently being handled by Ty and Bond
Yes.
Engineering. So those are two outstanding pieces that are still going on behind the scenes that are being handled. I don't believe we have hard deadlines or approximations of when those things
No,
will
just that
be
they're
done.
they're in the, I hate to call that, they're in the paperwork shuffle. There's not, they're just gonna go back and forth and then
Yep.
be recorded.
Okay,
Are they paid for already?
There's no cost.
No tie and bond, no cost from tie and bond?
No, this is part of their services.
and our
And the attorney.
legal fees, the attorney fees
Or county fees.
and accounting, what?
County.
County, oh, for the licensing. for the-
That I haven't been made privy to, so I don't know about.
So that would be cost items that tied to the building project that we need to account in the final report. Where's that money coming from?
If it's just recording fees, you know, it's $100 or less at the county level, but if it's attorney fees for
Yeah,
preparing
for
documents,
preparing.
that could be $1,000.
Yeah, so we need to,
I'll get an estimate from them.
cause that money has to be included in what's being spent for invoices, outstanding invoices.
Madam Chair, at this point, we can't close squat because we don't, again, have all the numbers. So what I feel like we just went through tonight was for nothing, cause we don't have final numbers.
Well, we have a plan for
We have a plan, but we
financial
have to come
plan.
back and now approve more expense. Right? And we have 77,000 we need to get verified, so thanks, but could have ended this about an hour and 20 minutes ago.
Well,
Well, we need to
could
wrap
we-
up JBC.
Yeah,
Can we?
that's what I'm saying,
This
so
current
could we
board.
do could we just do the same thing, why don't we just put the money to that amount? Could we put another large amount to that includes the legal fees and then for the processing of this and then whatever the number comes in at, we would, go to the council to ask for that money to be paid back?
I don't think we wanna do.
I don't think we wanna do that, because then if they say no, then
Yeah.
Well,
who pays the attorney? I
Well, you
think
need to
that
include those as part of the
that's gonna be
That's
part of
actual
the
building
four-
project,
Those are
you
actual.
just do an estimate.
Yeah, we're
Well,
gonna
those
have
costs
to
might
do
Just
be-
estimate it, do you need the actual dollar amount?
I'm comfortable with if it's estimated, but
Yeah.
the more accurate you get, the
Yeah.
better. Cause legal fees, like Tim said, could be, or Counselor Fontenot,
Yeah.
$1,000, it could be $5,000.
Yeah, so I was thinking more like 10, but so could you say you're gonna put 25,000 in there and you're not gonna spend,
No,
you're
it's
gonna
not.
spend 2,000 of it? You
I
know,
think it's
and-
fine because what you're really asking for of any surplus is just the $154,000 for the vehicles and the other items you mentioned.
Right.
So you're still well below, you just can't identify that final surplus number until you know all these items, but you're still gonna be in the $1 million range.
I mean, what we've approved is sending back the surplus of any
Yeah.
approved expenditures,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, would we actually
That
be
actually
voting
covers it.
on what the legal fees are, or?
No.
Because
No.
in my opinion, we've
No.
covered it already with that statement.
Yep.
You guys are gonna pay what you're gonna pay for legal fees, deduct that from the surplus,
Yep.
and you're gonna send on the surplus to
Right,
us, so I don't think
exactly.
there's any reason to keep it open for that.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think we're in a place where we can dissolve the committee and then finish up, and but that like includes, for example, your payment, right? Are you
No,
including
we're
your,
all set, we're all set, yeah.
so you
All
have
that's
that
been accrued,
invoice?
everybody, the architects, everybody's all accrued.
Okay,
So there's bookkeeping to be done, but you don't need this committee
I
for that.
agree, yeah, I think the committee has made the final decision of deauthorizing the surplus money and requesting that it be set aside, that dollar amount be set aside in the city council to decide whether we get our special ed equipment and the truck after they've been given rationale from the district. So I think and we know the two outstanding items, the tax map and the permit. I think that's it. If you wanna have one final meeting in December, this would be the time to
I'll
decide.
make a motion to dissolve the committee.
Second,
Okay, motion
All
to
those in
dissolve JBC committee by Mr. Downs, second by Mr. Fontenot. Right, did you do the second? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Alright, next is public comment.
Oh, I just have one other,
And-
Madam Chair.
Alright, other.
we're
So we
dissolved.
dissolved.
Dissolved. Sorry, Ray. Just thank you, Madam Chair, for wrangling this bunch of misfits, I would say, for lack of a better term, especially during all the colors, because
Thank
we
you.
would never do that, right? So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you guys. You guys made it a pleasure to serve. All right, next item is public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to address the JBC, please state your name, address, limit your comment to 5 minutes.
One last one, just,
Okay,
Oh,
alright.
come on.
Alright, right.
Ray, Ida Circle.
Listen, Mr. Recklick, I have a tractor and a bucket on it, so if you need to move snow,
Alright.
I'll just come over and help you out, alright?
He's a good neighbor.
But good job, I know I've complained a lot, I've probably praised less than I've complained. But I appreciate you guys listening to my concerns. I'm the only one that showed up to every meeting from the neighborhood. And you listened to my concerns, you accommodated me as much as you could. Mr. Bristol has, always been in contact with me about, whatever. So I appreciate that. You all did a good job and yeah, great job choosing the colors. Cause I wouldn't want the colors these guys would have. But, school looks good. I hated the idea, I hate the location, but it's good, it's great for the kids. It's well done, it's well built, and we can just let the trees grow and eventually sometime have a
Screening.
nice buffer there. But good job, guys.
Thank you, Ray. Alright, any other comments from the public? There being none, I'll close public comment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn for the last time.
Motion by Mr. Pappas, second by Alex. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark, for coming.
And thank you so much.